webinar today. My name is Anna Patrick. I am the Director of Strategic Partnerships here at CSG Actuarial. Some of you may also see me leading different tutorial videos on Medicare Center and Lead Center as well. So very happy to have you on today's training. We have a great webinar in store for you today. So we have Kelly Rayburn with us. She is the Assistant Vice President of Sales and Distribution at Medico. Kelly, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to be with us here today. I know we have a lot of agents that are really eager to learn more about Medico, to learn more about how you can submit applications on the CSG quoting software, and also just diving in to see where Medico is competitive at, where you should be focusing your efforts on. So within the CSG tool, not only can you do your Medico quotes and your Medico enrollments, you can also create Medico heat maps. So we can really see nationwide where Medico is competitive at. So if you want to start qualifying for some more incentives and do more business with Medico, we can start pointing you in states where they're really competitive at and make those sales easy for you. So we're going to go ahead and get started today. This webinar is being recorded. You will all receive a copy of today's training following the presentation. This is open for questions, so you can type your questions into the questions box and we will get through those questions as we go through today's training. If you look in your handout section of the GoToWebinar screen, we also have a eApp tutorial. So it's a PDF that walks you through all the screenshots. That is very helpful to kind of have saved to your computer if you ever need to go back and look at it. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to first just ask you a couple of questions here. One is, are you currently contracted with Medico? Easy question, yes or no. We're going to go through some Medico product training here today with Kelly. Kelly's going to talk to you more about Medico. So just curious to know how many of you are currently contracted with Medico today. And if you're not contracted, we're going to be able to get you contracted after the training here today. You can always reach out to your Integrity upline or FMO, IMO to get contracted as well if you are not currently contracted. So just simple question, yes or no, are you currently contracted? Most of you are saying yes, but we do have 13% of you that are not contracted yet. So today you'll learn why you need to get contracted with Medico. You're going to have a great resource to quote Medico, to do your enrollments, and also to see where they're competitive with our heat maps. All right, next question. Just curious to know, have you used the CSG application before? I like to ask this question just so I can gauge everyone's comfort level. Within the CSG app, we do have multiple carriers on our app platform, so it's the same process for every single carrier. Today, we're focusing on Medico. I'm going to walk through the Medico app, but just curious if you have used our platform with other carriers before. That way, I can either speed things up or slow things down for those of you that have not. So 22% of you are saying yes, thank you for using the platform to submit your apps. 79%, 78% are saying no. So I'll make sure to go through a slow training here today to get you comfortable. Again, that handout that I put in there with the tutorial is going to be your go-to as well. And we have some recorded videos and trainings on the eApp and Medico as well. Last question here today. Are you aware of your unlimited earning potential with Medico's Supp incentive program? So Kelly's going to be talking about Medico's incentive program, and key word here is it's unlimited earning potential. Don't you love that? So yes or no, are you aware of it? If not, we'll make sure that you are aware of it, and again, provide you resources to quote, to do your apps, to start earning more money. So 73% of you are not aware of it. So make sure that you are paying attention to Kelly's presentation here as she talks about that incentive program. It's a great way to earn some more money. And that's what we're all here for, right? So we're going to go ahead and get started here today. Thank you for answering those questions for me. And Kelly, I'm going to hand it off to you.
Hello. Thank you, Anna. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate it. I just love the fact that there's 80% of you that are online that have already been appointed to Medico and you're doing business with Medico. But the 70% of you that don't know about our incentives currently in market, that stresses me out just a smidge. Simply because we're not shy about putting it out there, right? And if you're checking your emails at all during the week, you should be seeing those incentives. We've had the MedSupp one incentive in market since January 1st, and we actually announced it prior to that January launch date. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started. You're gonna see me kind of darting around because things are like popping around the screen. So I just kind of wanna let you know, I am looking at you. But let's talk a little bit about Medico. Thank you all for joining, but let's jump right in. So why Medico? Well, there's a lot of reasons to choose a company that is, there's a lot of reasons to choose Medico as your company of choice. Reason being, first and foremost, is we are an A-rated excellent by AM Best. That should make you feel confident and comfortable knowing that we are a strong and stable company out in the market. There's 180 companies that offer a Medicare supplement plan to date currently, and we are in that top 10 with the highest rating of that A excellent. We've been providing insurance solutions since the 1930s, so we're not new to this industry. We've moved around a little bit since we have been in market since the 1930s, but I always like to point out that what happened in 1930, well, we had the most horrible depression, financial situation called the Depression in the United States, and we were a company that started and then persevered through, we've weathered the storm for almost 100 years at this point, right? We have a proactive approach of doing business. For those of you that have been appointed with us, you know this more than anyone. We have made great strides in the last few years to change the way that we do business in the market with you, the agents. We go out, we poll agents. We are asking customers what they want. We're asking you, the agents, what you need to be able to sell. So we want to hear your feedback across all channels, not just distribution, not just product, but what's it going to take to be your carrier of choice. We want to know so that we can make sure that we're doing those things that would bring you to Medico. We have innovative tools for business development. One of the things that Anna will be talking about here very shortly with the CSG quoting tool. We partnered with CSG the very beginning of 2023. This was a long road to hoe back in 2022. We wanted to make sure that we could give all of the agents the opportunity to quote and enroll from the CSG platform. So we built that, what we call a coded API specifically for that reason. So you never have to leave the CSG platform to actually enroll your clients. We also have multiple products to satisfy your clients' needs. So we do have partnership products such as dental plans. I'm going to talk about our VSP and our smart hearing partnership here in just a few minutes. We have a hospital indemnity plan that is well known and utilized very well in the market. It's a great pair to that Medicare Advantage so that clients really feel like they have a Medicare supplement that it will work sort of like a Medicare supplement if they have that MA and that hospital indemnity pair. And then we also have our first diagnosis cancer plan that's out in market. We give you accessibility to all of our teams, especially our underwriters. We want to make sure that you can call in and be able to talk to them about maybe you didn't agree with the decline. Maybe you want a second attempt at running the application through. Maybe you want to pre-screen your client based around maybe their formulary or any of their DX, their dreaded disease questions prior to submitting the application. By all means, we want you to feel like you have all the information just outside of reading an underwriting guide. We want to give you the people that are going to be decisioning those applications for you. We are developing future partnerships for future growth. We're always looking for agents to come alongside or for us to come alongside them to be able to help service your business the best that we possibly can, as well as your clients. But we know that you have a lot of companies that are in the market that you can trust. I believe that Medico has brought the trust to the field, especially over the last decade. And then we want to make everything as easy as possible to do business with us. Again, this comes down to the partnership that we have with CSG and adding this enrollment tool for our Medicare supplement plan to their platform, just simply to make it as easy as possible to do business with us. Just as a side note, because I know this question is going to come up, we still have My Enroller. My Enroller is still our system that is out there. This is a great alternative as you're going out to quote. You never have to leave to flip over to My Enroller. You can use the CSG platform to enroll in Medico, just like what you would do as if you went over to the My Enroller. Now, what I'd like to talk about here, I actually took some notes today because I want to make sure that I touch on a couple of items as we're going through this training today. But when you offer the stability of a Medicare supplement plan, your client base is really going to grow, and you can create some really long-term stability in your book of business as well as long-term clients. Why? Because a Medicare supplement plan, it's really sold to someone that wants to take control of their own healthcare plan, right? So my biggest question, if I were in the field, which I've not sold Medicare supplement, I've sold other things in the field, but not a Medicare supplement, but would be, do you want to control your healthcare, or do you want someone else to control your healthcare? A Medicare supplement plan keeps you, the client, in control of your own healthcare. It gives you the opportunity to have a guarantee. It's guaranteed renewable. No matter once you start filing your claims, Medico is not going to say, okay, enough claims, we're done with you, client. We're going to continue to renew that Medicare supplement for that client when they're in it. They have a stability of benefits. They get to know that the doctors and the hospitals that they want to use, they can go to at any time. They're not being told what network they need to go to. So if they want to go to their doctor, I have a doctor that I absolutely love. I would likely never leave him unless I move out of this area. But I know that regardless of what my healthcare plan is, I would continue to go and see that doctor. That is very important to clients, especially as they continue to age, because those healthcare providers, whether it's their doctors or the hospital that may be in their area, already know who they are, already know their health, and they don't need to go in and have, try to rebuild that relationship. And then they know that the coverage is going to be across the United States. We do have I just had my very first experience with a foreign claim, which was interesting to say the least. Someone had to go to the hospital while they were in a foreign country and worked on that claim. But across the United States, they can go anywhere. If they're snowbirds and they're in Florida and something happens to them in Florida, they can go to any doctor, any hospital that they choose and still get that claim filed on their Medicare supplement. They don't have to worry about trying to find in and out of network. It is a long-term plan, and it's a great way for you, the agents, to really build a referral base. I always like to talk about when I was out in the field selling, one of the questions that I always asked was, tell me about the people that you play golf with. Tell me about your bowling team. Who do you play bridge with? Because I could build referrals from the things that people like to do as hobbies, and this is exactly one of them, right? Most of the time, birds of a feather flock together. That is true 99.9% of the time, and they will provide referrals. They love to talk about the great service that they get from their agents, and they're going to provide those names to you or provide your card to those friends. And then the last thing about a Medicare supplement plan, they can change, right? You're not pigeonholing your clients into AEP or then eventually, and obviously then OEP. They can change their plan anytime during the year because likely their needs and their healthcare is going to change somewhere along the line, and they can feel confident that they can make those changes whenever. Our Medico plan, as you can see here, is in all the states that are in blue, dark and light blue. Utah is the only one that doesn't have the plan in our new charter, which we're going to talk about here quickly. Most generally, all the plans A, G, F, N are all in the states, as well as high deductible F and high deductible G. Just kind of want to let you know we do have a full gamut of our Medicare supplement, and we are competitively priced mostly, and Anna's going to go through this when she shows you those heat maps. We're more competitively priced in your urban and your suburban areas. Why did we do that on this current charter instead of going out to those rural areas? Well, we started doing some population work, and we found that the people that are over 65 aren't really leaving their homes. They're moving in or staying in those urban suburban areas because those urban suburban areas are really flourishing. And they may be snowbirding out, but they're continuing to come home. So we went to your highly populated areas to where our rates would be the most competitive in those urban suburban areas. So for instance, I live in Indianapolis, Fort Wayne, and all the surrounding counties around Indianapolis, Evansville, and up in what we call the region, which is up in that South Bend, close to Chicago area, very competitive in Indiana. In Illinois, Chicagoland is actually the most competitive rate for any of our Medicare supplements. Again, Anna's going to show you that here shortly with the heat maps, but the rates are outrageously good. So if you have clients that are in those highly populated areas, I suggest you start talking to them. This is the plan comparison sheet, and just to kind of give you some information. So I'm sure you're pretty familiar with Plan F, Plan G, and Plan N and the differences. So while Plan F is still the most popular plan because we have those that were eligible prior to January 2020, January 1st, 2020, also something that we call MACRA. We have a lot of them coming back to our F plan because they're healthy enough to be able to underwrite back onto the health plan. But Plan G has become the new F for those that were not eligible prior to that January 1st, 2020. And the Plan N is actually gaining popularity more so than any of the other plans, simply because it mirrors more of what they had with the group insurance. The only difference really between Plan F, G, and N is in Plan G and N that Part B deductible is not paid. The client policyholder is going to be responsible for that Part B deductible. And then on the N plan, those excess charges up to about 15%, if the physicians are going to charge those excess charges, are the responsibility of the policyholder. So the Medico tools and incentives, just to touch on those, there's a couple of things that I always like to point out. And one is, you know, I always say the devil's in the details, but really I think you just need to have a conversation with your client. When you're sitting down at a kitchen table or over a Zoom, you need to make this a two-way conversation instead of just giving all of the information. Again, don't follow a script, right? Ask them, would you prefer to be in charge of your healthcare plan, or would you prefer to have someone else be in charge of your healthcare plan? If they say they would want to be in charge of it, then you know you're going to walk down that Medicare supplement route. Ask them the questions like, are you aware that the plans don't cover everything? So let's talk about the plan that's going to be right for you and what isn't covered so that they can understand thoroughly what they're going to need to come out of pocket for. What type of coverage do they have currently? If they're rolling off of group coverage, talk to them about what their employer was charging them, what their monthly costs or premiums were coming out of their paycheck. Even though they didn't stroke the check, it didn't actually come out of their checkbook or off of a credit card, those premiums with their employer plans. That's a little different, right? But they still were paying for it. So they've got to understand that a Medicare supplement, if they want to be in charge, they would need to know what they were paying for it and what they're going to be charged for if they decide they're going to roll onto a Medicare supplement plan. What type of benefits beyond just traditional healthcare do you require? Do they wear glasses like I do? That's going to be an expense out of pocket. They may need something for vision. They may need something for hearing if they have one of those antennas that are coming out of their ears. Is dental important to them? Most people that are retiring don't understand that there's individual dental plans that are out in market. It's your job as the agent to bring that forward to make sure that they're going to have comprehensive dental coverage. And then of course, any prescription drug coverage, because those that are turning 65 are likely at least taking one formulary. They may be taking more. And as they continue to age, they're going to be taking probably more and more. And then is it going to be important for you to be able to choose your own provider? If you are attached to your doctor, like Kelly's attached to her doctor, you're going to want to make sure that that doctor is going to be available to them. Then teach them the details. Teach them what it is that you're putting them in so that they can go back and feel comfortable and confident that they have the knowledge of how their healthcare is going to, how it's going to perform. And then don't forget to go back and review that with them at least once a year, if not twice. When I was an agent, I always set my next appointment 6 months prior from the date that we were sitting down, just like a dentist. And then typically whenever I was going back in for a review, if they needed to cancel the appointment, they were easily able to reschedule either 2 weeks prior or 2 weeks after. That was my little marketing tip for you that I did whenever I was an agent. And then obviously you want to sell the plan that meets their needs. You really want to listen to what they're saying to you and not just sell them what's in your briefcase. You want to make sure that you're selling them exactly what it is that they need and the plan that's going to fit into their budget. So where do you get all the information for Medico? For those of you that are appointed with us, this is going to be, this is your holy grail of Medico information. This is our MIC. It's called the Medico Information Center, and this is the agent portal. This is where all of our product information lies. Your commission schedules lie. Any incentive information, shame on you. That banner that's actually up in this area right here flips across the screen, and it's up to date with all of our incentive information. Any tools that you might need to download. If you haven't been appointed with us yet, this is where, once you get your welcome letter, this is where you would actually go to be able to get on to My Enroller. Now, we're not talking about My Enroller, but that would be where you would go for My Enroller. Something else that's new from 2022 that we launched was a policyholder app. One of the things that we heard over and over again was my client didn't get their ID cards. They don't have their plan information. And likely it's because they got that 11x8 envelope in the mail and they threw it away, not knowing what it was, not knowing that their ID cards were in there, or threw it in a drawer and they can't find it. So we actually developed the My Medico mobile app. So seniors got really, really good during COVID with technology, right? So they can download this My Medico app for any smartphone device, and they have access to their ID cards immediately. So as soon as you hit submit on the application will have a approval with a policy number. They can actually go in, help them download this onto their cell phone and pull up their ID cards immediately. It gives them all of their plan details. They can check the status of claims. They can find a provider if they need to find a provider. It's a huge resource right then and there for your Medico policyholder. This is an invaluable piece of technology. Now, talking about incentives, I am just going to go over one of the incentives. We actually have 3 that are in market right now. One, this is the Medicare supplement incentive, but we do have an incentive for all of our ancillary products, our dental, our first diagnosis cancer, and also, oh my goodness, our hospital indemnity. I lost my brain for a second. Did you see that just go away? And then the other incentive that we have is for our Medico Invitational Experience, which is our trip that has been, the location has not been announced, but the incentive qualifications are already out there. It started January 1st and goes through the end of December. But the Medicare supplement incentive, as Anna had mentioned, it's unlimited earning potential with all of our Medicare supplement plans. So currently between January 1st through the end of March, so the end of first quarter, you just need a combination of Medicare supplement, either underwritten, open enrollment, or guarantee issue to be in the money. You have to submit 5 that qualify, and then we pay you back to that very first application. Depending on the type of plan that you've actually enrolled your client in, we're paying $125 for Medicare supplement underwritten applications, and then $25 for any OE or GI applications. The other thing that I wanted to mention is we actually started a partnership with VSP and Smart Hearing at the very, well, I guess it was February 1st, we started the partnership with them. So we actually came alongside for vision and hearing plans for all of our Medico policy holders. So the Start Hearing has a 60-day trial period. It takes care of everything for the client with discounts on hardware, discounts on batteries, discounts on office visits, things like that, and they can go out and actually find a provider that would be in their area. If they're new to the hearing aid market and they need financing options because those hearing aids just don't fit into their budget at this time, they do offer those finance options available. There are finance options available. On the VSP side, there is a monthly premium that goes along with VSP, which actually is a discounted premium. There's 2 plan options that can be chosen. There's providers, as you can see, over 40,000 providers across the country, and they can use their VSP benefit at any one of those. So definitely great add-ons for any of your Medico clients, but definitely for your Medicare supplement clients. If you need to get a hold of us for any reason, of course, you can contact our agent service department at 1-800-547-2401, option 3 for the Medico agent services, or you can log on to mic.gomedico.com if you're already appointed with us, and you can fire away a question to our agent services in an email. Always comes to me. So just to kind of me or my team, so just to let you know, we will answer any of those emails. If you need to get to me directly, you can ask to talk to Kelly Rayburn, or my email is my first initial, K Rayburn, RAYBURN, @gomedico.com. And with that, Anna, it's coming back to you.
All right, and one question as we get started. So the app for the policyholders is awesome. Do they also still send over a paper ID as well?
Yes, we still send over the paper. I'm gonna go back to this screen. Yes, we do still send a policy packet and the paper identification cards, just like we did in the past. It just gives an extra push for anyone that might want their ID cards immediately, or if they say they haven't gotten them. We know they're in the policy packets, but sometimes they're overlooked.
Perfect. Thank you. Just what we had that question come through. I'm going to start sharing my screen with you all here today. We're going to walk through the quoting tool, so how you can quote Medico on CSG. Kelly also talked about some of their ancillary products, so their hospital indemnity. You can quote their hospital indemnity on CSG. You can also quote their dental, so keep that in mind too. What's really great too is you can stack their plans alongside a Medicare Advantage plan, so the Medicare Advantage alongside a hospital indemnity plan using the Fill the Gaps tool. So we have some great tools for you within CSG to help you cross-sell those Medico ancillary products as well. So let's go ahead and get started here. A couple of different ways in which you may have access to CSG. One is if you are contracted through Integrity, you do have access to Medicare Center. So your Integrity FMO or upline has given you access to Medicare Center. There is no charge for you, the agent, to use Medicare Center. So if you sign into your Medicare Center account, in the upper right-hand corner where your name is at, you can click on this CSG app, and that takes you to the CSG actuarial quoting tool. It's just branded to Medicare Center, as I have here pulled up on my screen. Others may have access to CSG through their branded uplines quoting tool. You can still access CSG that way as well. If you ever want your own individual subscription with us, you can also purchase that, but most of you should have it for free through your upline. So when you see CSG up here pulled up on your screen, keep in mind you can quote the Medicare supplements. You also have the option to quote final expense, hospital indemnity, and dental. When we get into our carrier heat maps, that's where we're going to use our market edge. So the carrier heat maps are done within market edge. What's great about the eApp platform, and I'm probably going to say this a lot, is that no matter if you're doing a Medico app or any other carriers that we have on our platform, it is going to have the same look and feel and the same process. All of your applications that you complete on the CSG quoting tool will also store into your e-applications view active. So that's where any of your incomplete apps, maybe you started a Medico app and just didn't have time to finish it, or you're waiting for your client to be available to do a signature, they automatically store here in your e-applications panel. So when we go to quote a Medicare supplement, all we have to do is click on that supplement run quote. In Medicare Center, you are going to see 100% of the market. So when you do run your quote, you will see all the carriers available. You can adjust the age, the gender, the tobacco status, the plan type. You can also apply household discounts as well by hitting that applied. And I always recommend that you move your effective date forward to the effective date for the policy. So I had some questions that came through about attain age, issue age, community rating. Also wanted to know the increase history. That is available right on the quoting platform here. So as I'm scrolling through the results, we'll be able to find Medico. So I did an Indiana zip code here, and I see the Medico Corp. I'm able to see their premium. I'm able to see if they have a household discount. If I want to apply that 10% household discount to my monthly premium, all I have to do is on the far left-hand side, click Apply Discounts, and now Medico is appearing with their household discount included in that. Medico does have a couple of different rating classes. They have a preferred and a standard. Maybe Kelly can talk to about that here in a little bit, but we do have those rating classes labeled here for you as well. What's great about the eApp platform, and as Kelly mentioned, we have an open API with them. So if you hit this apply now, and as you're going through those health questions, if a certain height and weight requirement puts them into a different rating class, our system's automatically going to recognize that and update that premium for you. So I love that we spent that time with Medico in our partnership, making sure when you're doing an application on our system, it's going to have the accurate rate for you, even though you can quote their multiple rating classes within CSG. So right here, you see I have the rating class preferred. Over on the left-hand side, the market analytics, this is where you can see the age increases, if it is an attained age. So in this particular state, this is an attained age, so you can see how Medico's premium adjusts. So this is a great plan, and if you were comparing it to other companies, you can see here that their rate is going to stay the same to 66, 67, 68, and they're only going to take a 1.2 increase when they turn. Whereas other carriers, they may increase that once they turn 66, 67. So you can view that. Those age increases reflect if no rate adjustments take effect. So you can view that here. You can also check out Medico's loss ratios, which are great. You can see a very low loss ratio here is exactly what you want to see as an agent. The lower the loss ratio percentage, that means they're not paying as much out in claims as premium earned. So you want to look at that. That is key. A great loss ratio here for Medico. Another reason to do business with that. So when you're ready to do the application, all you have to do is click on this Apply Now. This Apply Now is going to show for you, no matter if you're contracted or not. The first time you hit Apply Now, that's where it's going to ask you to validate that you have a contract. So you will enter in your Medico writing number. I'm going to switch screens here just so I can get into a test application. So this test application just allows me to submit the application during a demo without actually sending it over to Medico. I will tell you that as an agent, if you want to come in here and you can test the application, you certainly can, just don't submit it. So today I'm actually going to submit it in my testing environment, but if you want to come in here and get familiar with the look of the land, you can go through that application just before you get to the signature, go into your e-applications and delete that, and I will show you where that's at here in a little bit. So I just quickly reran the quote in my testing environment. I hit Apply Now. The first time you hit Apply Now, it's going to ask you for your Medico writing number. It didn't ask me for mine because mine was already saved in the system. So as soon as you enter that number in one time, the system's automatically going to save it and recognize it for you. So as I mentioned, this universal app process, what this means, it's the same look and feel, no matter the carrier, no matter the product on here. So it's automatically going to carry over your quote here on the right-hand side. Within this overview section, you'll see those initial plan details. So I did a female 65. If I wanted to capture any of the initial documents, I can click on the initial documents. That way I can view the outline of coverage, the disclosure, or grab the Medicare guide. You can also email those documents over. As soon as I select an underwriting type and I hit continue, it will then populate the sections over here on the right-hand side that I have to go through and complete. So we're only going to show you sections that you need to complete, making it really quick and easy for you. And then we do have our notifications tab up here in the upper right. So this will notify you of any errors. So as you are going through the application, if you did something wrong, like you selected the wrong underwriting type, and we can recognize that based upon your Medicare Part A or Part B effective dates, if you entered in a declinable drug, if you answered yes to an automatic decline health question, our system's going to recognize that here for you. So let's go through this application here, start to finish. You'll notice it carries over my agent number here. Then I can select the underwriting type, whether that's open enrollment, guarantee issued, or full underwriting. If I was doing a fully underwritten app, that's where it would ask me for my health questions and my medications. In this case, we're just going to do an open enrollment, so we won't have those sections. But I do like to point that out for you, that if you did, those sections would populate for you to answer accordingly. It's also going to recognize your underwriting type for you, as well as your Medicare Part A and Part B effective dates. So if I accidentally select guarantee issue, but I really need an open enrollment because they're within that 6-month window of turning 65, the system would tell me that it's actually an open enrollment. So we do have those awesome safeguards in place here for you. Now I have my sections that populated here on the right-hand side. You can see the green check mark. That means that section is good to go. The yellow air icon means that there's just missing information that we have to come back in and complete. You can hop around the different sections. So what I love about our e-app is just the ease of being able to navigate from section to section. It's also going to automatically save for me as I hit continue or go on to a next section. I can always come back into my e-applications and view any incompletes. So as I go through and I select the plan type, I can then have the effective date carries over as well. I can just start by typing in the first name, the last name, and then the resident address. This piece is very important with your resident address. So we do have to make sure that you are typing in that resident address correctly. So we do validate with the United States Postal Service to validate that. So if you misspell a street name, if you accidentally put street instead of avenue, you have to make sure that that resident address is correct and also is with that same zip code. So if you get us to mail, if your app fails, it could be because of your address. So make sure that that is a valid address in the system. Zip, city carries over from the quote. If you had a PO box for a mailing address, you can select yes, and then you can put that PO box in there, but your resident address cannot be a PO box. It has to be a physical address. Date of birth, age, gender carries over. And I'll just type in a phone number here. And then the email address. You will have a couple of different options for doing the signature. One of those is an email address. So I'm just going to demo my email address in here just so you can see how that e-signature would work if you were doing an email for a signature. So once a section is complete, you can just go ahead and hit that continue button. Again, it will come over here on the right-hand side, letting me know that that section is good. As I mentioned, with Medico, we have an open API. That means we're automatically going to update that quote for you, the premium shown, if anything is different from your initial quote. So I initially quoted without a household discount. So if I answered the household discount question as yes, and then I put in the information here, and I hit continue, it will then update my premium here to reflect that 10% household discount or whichever household discount is available in that state. So there's a lot of safeguards in place for you. As I mentioned, same with the height and weight requirement. If it puts you into a different rating class or you answer yes to a tobacco question and it's not a guarantee issue or open enrollment, it will change that for you. Social Security number, Medicare claim number, these are two optional fields. You will notice anything with a red asterisk is a requirement. So just kind of pay attention to that here. And I'm just going to go through these questions here pretty quickly here. Again, hitting continue on as I go to the next section. Tammy, your question is, my upline does not provide this tool, so how can I get this tool? Call us. We can check your email to see if you may have access to Medicare Center. Otherwise, you can purchase it through us as well. Previous or existing coverage information, for time purposes, I'm just going to select no, but if they did have another Supp policy in force or they had extra coverage, you would have drop-down menus that would ask what you are replacing here. So just keep that in mind. Based upon how you answer the questions, different questions would populate for you. And I'm going to hit continue. And I know I see some questions that Kelly has been answering. Thank you, Kelly, for answering these questions that are coming in. But what I like about the application is it does define what that household discount is. So you can view what that household discount definition is in that particular section. So it does make it really nice if you quoted with or without it initially, you can actually see what that is. So method of payment, we have the automatic bank withdrawal as your option. You can pick ongoing, quarterly, annual, what day you want that to come out of the account, and then your checkings or savings account. You can go ahead and either type in the routing number or type in the bank name. Either option would populate the different banks available. So I just typed in First National, I select which one, and then I can put in my account number. If you have a husband and wife that share a bank account, just put the first name of the applicant on here. So if Jane and John shared a bank account, just go ahead and put Jane's name here. That is what we would request from you. So hopefully you can see how easy it is just kind of navigate to each of the sections. Again, everything is saving for you. This is the to be completed by producer section. So it's just asking you a couple of questions here, whether you have been, if you've written this person before. All of these questions is the same questions that you would see on My Enroller, or the same questions you would see on the paper. If you were going through the health questions, these are the exact same health questions on Medico. So if you're used to submitting a Medico application, you'll notice all of the same questions are on here. So once I get in here, you can see that everything is filled out. If I have to go in and edit a particular section, you can see how I can just quickly hit on edit, or I can just hop to the section on the right-hand side. So as I mentioned, this saves for you. So let's say as an agent, I go through this, I completed, I'm waiting for my client to be available for the signature, or maybe I answered all the questions and I'm waiting for their banking information for them to call me back. I get interrupted, somebody comes into my office, I take a phone call, I have to step away. Everything saves for you. So all you have to do is when you sign into the CSG and you go into your e-applications, view active, I'm going to show you that here in a second, because this happens a lot. I talk to agents all the time, all day long. I get interrupted, I need to come back into it. Yes, so it saves for you. So when you sign back into your CSG account, if you click on e-applications view active, this is where all your applications will store for every carrier, whether they're completed, whether you're waiting for signature, whether you have submitted them, they all store right here for you. So you can easily come back in and edit. So if you wanted to go through and practice this, get out of where I got out now, just don't go to the signature, and then just come in and delete your practice. But you can see in here, I also have a bunch of other incomplete apps. I also have some submitted apps here as well. So I'm going to go ahead, my client's available to do the signature now. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit that edit button. It shows me all of my sections are completed. So I just have to go down to the lock application section. All right, so I reviewed it, everything is good. I'm going to click on this lock and e-sign right here. A lot of you have some great questions. Thank you, Kelly, for going through those questions and answering them.
No problem. There's a few in there that I don't know because they're specific to your tool.
Yeah. Yeah, that's totally fine. We'll
We
get
can,
through.
we can still review them at the end.
Yep, absolutely. So you'll go through your electronic signature consent, accept those, and then hit continue. Hitting the print button would just mean if you are going to go ahead and print out those disclosures. So once we get to the signature, we have 3 options. I'm going to demo for you 2 of them here today. So if you are in the same physical location, you have 3 options: applicant providing identification information, an email, or a text. So you have 3 options if you're face-to-face. If you're not face-to-face with them, you have 2. You have an email or a text. So let's say you are face-to-face with them. You're going to hit applicant providing identification information. You will open up every single document. So you'll be able to review the outline, the disclosures. I'm going to go through these kind of quickly with time purposes, but you're just going to click on every single one. So you have a copy of it. You will notice when you look at the paper app, everything carries over to the paper application. As you can see here, this is I know a lot of agents like to keep this on hand, so that is available for you. And then as I scroll down, I will just check mark I have received, read, and kept a copy of the above documents. I will ask my client, what is your mother's maiden name? What is your last 4? So you will type in those 4 digits, acknowledging the city, the state, and zip code that they're signing in. You'll check mark apply e-signature. It carries over your producer name and your agent ID number. And then you will check mark apply e-signature, and then you'll hit sign application. And then it will say that it has been submitted. So that's the option if you're face-to-face with them. They want to provide you their mother's maiden name and the last 4 digits of their social security number. Let's say you're not in the same physical location, you have an email or a text. The email signature will carry over the email from the applicant information section. So if this is a different email than what they need it sent to, you'll have to go in and click edit application down here at the bottom. If you were to do text signature, you can change the text. So if you put in a home phone number or landline and they want to do the text, and now you have to put in their cell phone, you can change this number here. It just has to be a smartphone with internet access so they can open up the link to then sign it and view the documents. So let's do email. The good thing about demoing the email for you here on the computer is it is the same screens that they would see if they were doing it on their phone as a text message. The only difference is the link and the verification code gets sent to their email instead of their smartphone. Okay, that's the only difference. So I'm going to select email, agent name ID carries over. You'll hit apply e-signature, and then we'll hit sign application. It will then tell me that my application is going to be pending. As soon as this goes through, so it is now saying pending the applicant's signature. I also have an option to capture the document here. So if I click on view applications here at the top, I can now see it says producer signed. This does not mean it's been submitted yet because the client still has to sign it. So producer signed just means that you have signed it. Your client has a 2-hour window to sign it. So if you send it to them and they try to access it 5 days later or 5 hours later, and it's saying that their code won't verify, that's where you can just quickly click on resend the signature. You don't have to edit, just click on resend. So let's go ahead, let's open up the email that was received. Let's go ahead and refresh this email. So it will say your Medico insurance company Medicare supplement e-application. So all I'm going to do is click on that. You are also CC'd on this email from the agent, so you also know what their code is. So you can see my work email was CC'd on there. This code expires with 2 hours, so it's also telling them that as well. So they will copy or write down this code. They'll click on verify signature. and then they will enter in that code, and they will want to enter in a date of birth. Now their date of birth does have to match the date of birth on the application. If the date of birth that they enter does not match, it will not allow them to verify. So I have seen that before where the agent had the wrong date of birth in there. So that could be one reason. If that's the case, you would go into your account, edit the application, and then resend the signature. So this is just them going through the consent to do an electronic signature. So then after they hit agree, it will then take them to the actual signature page. So there's 3 steps for your consumers. One is clicking on the link in the email and entering their verification code. The 2 is agreeing to do the electronic signature. And then the 3rd screen here is their actual signature. What the client has to do, just like if you were face-to-face, they will have to open up each document. So each document turns green. They will do this on their smartphone if you do also use it as the text signature option. So sometimes agents will say, my client cannot click on this. I have received, read, and kept a copy of the above documents. That's because they didn't open it up. So if your client's having a hard time clicking that, make sure that do all the bars look green to you. They'll acknowledge the city and the state that they're signing in. So I'm just going to type in Omaha, Nebraska. That's where I'm located if you haven't noticed. Apply e-signature, and then I'm going to hit sign application. So those are the 3 steps if you were doing email or if you were doing text. Them verifying with their code, their date of birth, agreeing to the consent, and then doing the actual signature where they open up the documents. So even if they're doing it on their smartphone, it just opens up their internet browser so they can view the different tabs. So it will say preparing application, and then once it has been submitted, it will say submitted on there for us. Now I will say, please allow 24 hours for this application to appear on your Medico agent portal. So on MIC, please allow 24 hours. That way we can make sure that we send all of the application directly to Medico. It said that it has been submitted. So now if you open up your CSG account, if you would refresh your page, your status will say submitted. So that's what you want to see for statuses. You want a green submitted. That means it has been submitted to Medico. We can view a copy of that PDF. We also have a quick link to MIC here for you to then check the status of the application. So I'm gonna go back into my other CSG account here just to quickly show you the heat maps here. I know we only have about 5 minutes left. So let's just quickly run through the competitive heat maps. I love these heat maps because this is a great way for you to see where Medico is competitive at without having to run several different quotes. So when you're on your CSG page, click on Market Edge and click Run Search. What's great about these heat maps is you can really customize them for your business. So once you open up Market Edge, in the upper right-hand corner, you want to click Go to Rate Comparison. There's some other great features of Market Edge that allows you to view Medicare demographics so you can see how many people are turning age 65, over age 65 on a MedSupp versus a Medicare Advantage. But our heat maps are done in our rate comparison. So this is where you're going to come in here and you're going to select your state. So I can do a national map. If you're just in certain states, you can do certain states. Leave your compare type, either a 3-digit or a 5-digit. Most companies will price by a 3-digit. A state would take the average, and you'll notice here as I do my maps, that's not necessarily the case. Medico may be really competitive in certain pockets of a certain state, but not the entire state. So make sure that you leave that at a zip 3 or a zip 5. You will want to move your effective date to the effective date of the rates. And then from there, you're going to enter in your map parameters. So if you want to see how competitive Medico is for a Plan G, you're going to select Plan G. If you want to do it for, again, you have to put in all this. So Plan G, non-tobacco. Let's say we're going to look at age 68, for example. We can select 68. Just enter in one parameter here, so 68 female. If you want to include the household discounts or not include the household discounts in the premium, you would select that. If you want to include demographics or select plans, you can. So primary companies where we're going to want to select Medico. So I'm going to select all for Medico. That way it's bringing in all their different subsidiaries and all their rating classes so we can figure out the lowest rating class. From there, I can say I want to compare Medico to everybody in the market. I want to see how competitive they are, where they're ranked #1, and I'm going to compare it to every company. I would select all. After I do this map, I'm going to do another map here that you can see where they're competitive at, comparing them against companies. So these are great because you can really customize it to you and say, I want to see where Medico is competitive at versus everybody in the market or just certain carriers that you do business with. That makes it really easy so you can tailor it to you. Now you'll also notice that at the very bottom, and just for time purposes, I hit generate, but there's a $5 and a $10 value. That is based upon my heat map. So areas of green is where Medico has the lowest premium. They're ranked #1. Areas of yellow is where their premium is within $5 of the lowest rate. Orange is where their premium is within $10 of the lowest rate. And then red is where their premium is $10 or greater. And again, this is comparing it to everybody in the market. Areas of gray is where they don't have rates at right now. So you'll notice here that I have some colors that are popping through. Now you can always adjust that 5 and 10. So maybe you want it to be 3 and 5 or 10 and 15. You can adjust that as you see fit. So as this map is done generating, I can hover over different zip codes to see where their premium is away from the lowest rate. So I know they have the lowest rates in Oklahoma, parts of Arkansas. I also see that for Alabama. We talked a little bit about Illinois here, Virginia, West Virginia, where they have the lowest premium out of everybody in the market. And we know you're not contracted with everybody. That's why you're going to want to customize these maps to just your companies. And we're going to do another map here in a second. But as you hover over those different areas, you're going to see where their premium dollar is away from the lowest rate. So for yellow, they're still within $3, $5 of being the lowest rate. And you may not be contracted with that lowest rate carrier. So again, this is interactive. You can hover over the different areas of each particular state and really see where they're competitive at. That way, if you want to start doing more business with Medico, start doing business in other states, this is a great visual for you to figure out where you should have your focus at. Let's focus in on areas where Medico has a very competitive premium. So let's do one more map here. I know we're kind of coming up on time, but I just want to demo one more here quickly for you, and then I'll get to some questions too. And Kelly, if you do have to jump off, I totally understand going a little bit over time. But everybody will receive a copy of this training following the presentation. So if you do have to hop off, you'll see this last map that we're generating here. So I'm actually going to move this up. I'm going to do a 70-year-old, non-tobacco, Plan G, female, applying household discounts. So you can just see you want to select that quote here. I have all companies or all states selected, as you can see, and then it will just take a second to generate my companies. So I'm going to select Medico, select all for Medico, and then my compare company. So maybe I want to compare them with Aetna. I want to see how competitive they are against Aetna. I would just select all the Aetnas. I can then type in Cigna and select all the Cigna companies here. That way I'm comparing Medico against Cigna, and maybe I want to compare them against Mutual of Omaha as well. I want to type in maybe Omaha Insurance, get Mutual of Omaha. Mutual of Omaha has different subsidiaries as well, so just make sure you select all of their different subsidiaries. So I selected their 5 subsidiaries there, and then I'm going to hit generate. So now I'm just comparing Medico to Aetna, Cigna, and Mutual of Omaha. So again, I love that you can customize these maps based upon the carriers that you're contracted with. So every single agent map is going to look different. If you are writing a lot of Plan N, come in here and run your Plan N. The Plan N maps are going to look different than a G map. If you're doing 65, 66, 67, come in here and run those different agents. the maps are going to look different. So really unlimited access for you to run as many heat maps as you would like to. And again, this saves you so much time. Just think about how much time this would have taken me to quote every single zip code, to know where they're competitive at. This can do it for me really, really quickly. You can see I have more green, more yellow. Again, fine tuning it to just the companies that you do business with is a great way. So a couple of different ways. I have a lot of questions coming on how you get access to CSG. One is your Integrity FMO does have their own CSG quoting tool. So if you want to reach out to them first, just to see if you have access to them, you can also send myself an email. I can check our system to see where your access lies and get you over your link. You likely also have access through Medicare Center. So I'll show you that here in a second. Look how green Medico is. So if you're writing those Aetna, Mutual, and Cigna, ooh, my computer just went dark. Sorry about, hopefully you guys can still see my screen. I just went dark. Okay, I'm back on. Sorry about that. Look how competitive they are, especially in Kentucky, $25 better. Virginia, still green. South Carolina, Mississippi, parts of Texas, Iowa, Wisconsin, Michigan, Indiana. So they're competitive in a lot of areas, and you can just kind of see those different pockets. If you want to quote the states where they don't have standard Gs, like Minnesota, make sure that you change it to their particular plan types or their like base plans. But a great, easy way to see where they're competitive, a lot of different areas. I'm going to just toggle my search off so you can see Arizona, all green in Arizona by $31. Very competitive in Arizona, also competitive in Nevada, Denver area. So pockets where they're highly populated individuals are going to be competitive. Here in my own state, $15 most competitive compared to those three companies, Iowa. So lots of green here on the map. I really encourage you to get in here and run your own heat maps. Again, this is a great way to figure out where your focus should be for Medico and figure out where you should be really pushing Medico and purchasing leads to then write Medico business. So how do you get access to CSG? I know this is a hot question that has come up a lot on here. So a couple of different ways. One is through your Integrity upline. The other is through your Medicare Center account. So if you're on Medicare Center, in the upper right-hand corner where your name is at, click on the CSG app here at the bottom, and that will take you into the CSG quoting tool. You can also contact CSG directly, and we can figure out where your access is or get you signed up on an account. All right, Kelly, thank you so much for your time here today. Thank you for going through all of the questions on here. Thank you, thank you. That was very helpful. Any last words for our agents that you want to share?
I just would like to tell you, well, first I'd like to thank you, Anna. We do a lot of work through CSG. We use the heat maps often in talking to our relationships and where they're located. As I mentioned, our rates are the most popular in those highly populated areas, those urban, suburban areas, and that's exactly what Anna was showing you compared to the Aetna, the Mutual, and the Cigna. Whenever you're comparing it to the overall, of course, it looks like Medico is in a lot more red, but just keep in mind that we have our we are not in those rural areas, and the ones where we're super close to the number one rated, or not number one rated, the number one premium, we're just within a few dollars, and you can guarantee that you're going to get what you pay for, right? You get your service that you pay for, you get the rate increases that you pay for, things like that. So those heat maps are invaluable to us and to you as the agent. So thank you for that. And I did leave any questions. I hope I answered all of the questions for people that were Medico specific. And then just, the CSG tool is what mostly I couldn't answer that question. So
awesome. Yep. So everyone will receive a copy of today's training following the presentation, so you'll be able to rewatch it. You have your handout as well. If you go to the CSG Actuarial YouTube page, we do have a Medico e-app tutorial video on there. Let me just quickly show you that. Let me just get into YouTube. So we do have a video out there that you can walk through exactly what we did today without going through an entire training. Just go to YouTube, type in CSG actuarial. You'll be able to go, it's right here. We have a recorded webinar on here that we previously did. We'll throw that webinar on here. But if you go in here and you click on Medico MedSupp eApp tutorial, the tutorial is right here after you watch some nice ads. So let me go ahead, I'm gonna chat this over, this YouTube link, that way you have access to a quick video as well. And so thank you everybody. We're gonna survey here as I close out the webinar. If you wouldn't mind answering those questions, I would greatly appreciate that. That gives us feedback on how you thought today's training went. So we will see you again on a future training, and go out there and write some Medico apps. Have a great day, everybody.